2/3 of Scots are overweight or obese, and the consequences of this for the nation's health and economy are all too obvious. So, what can be done? Successive governments have tried to tackle the epidemic with limited success. Today, media attention has been focused on the role of weight loss injections, described by some clinicians as a potential game changer. The UK Government has approved a 5-year trial in Manchester, which will study the use of a weight loss drug and how it impacts on unemployed people's job prospects.
This drug will be very helpful to people who want to lose weight, need to lose weight. Very important for the economy so that people can get back into work. Very important for the NHS because, as I've said time and again, yes, we need more money for our NHS, but we've got to think differently. We've got to reduce the pressure on the NHS.
Well, we assess the potential health benefits and risks of weight loss injections with a panel of guests. GP Dr Becky Howie, the Chief Executive of Scottish Slimmers Amanda Boyle, and Helen Puttick, who's a health reporter with The Times. Becky, first of all, just tell us, how do these weight loss jags actually work? How do they make people lose weight?
Yeah, so probably the main effect they have when it's about weight loss is that they really make you feel full really quickly. They slow down the emptying of your stomach so that you feel full. So I liken it to, you know, when you've had Christmas dinner and you're absolutely stuffed and somebody brings out the pudding and you think, I don't even want it. It's that sort of sensation that people will have. So it might be food they really enjoy, but they just get halfway through it and they just feel that really full, uncomfortable feeling.
And Helen, how commonly used are these injections at the moment in Scotland?
It's very hard to have exact figures at the moment because although in theory they should be available on the NHS, if you look at Scotland's major health boards, they're still putting processes in place to allow people to access them. So as an NHS patient in the moment, your chances of getting one of these treatments doesn't look very good. However, we do know there is extensive private prescribing, both by high street pharmacies and online pharmacies. And it seems that people are using that, if they have the funds, quite a lot. I spoke to a patient earlier today who tells me she is doing very well on the treatment.
And do you have people coming to you asking for them, Becky?
I do, and obviously it's not something that I can easily get for them on the NHS, but I have a lot of patients who are buying it privately and are just sourcing it from online chemists and online suppliers.
Amanda, do you know many people that are taking them who have turned to them in desperation almost?
I don't think it's so much desperation, Rona, as people look for shortcuts. One of the things that's always surprises me is the promotional information about these drugs tells everyone you can lose 15% of your body weight within 24 to 26 weeks. And the reality is you can lose the same amount of weight changing your eating habits. So people are looking for a shortcut that kind of doesn't exist.
And what are the side effects of taking them? Because people do complain that there are quite a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the most common side effects are feeling sick, stomach upset, bowel blockages. More serious side effects are things like a condition called pancreatitis, where your pancreas becomes inflamed, increasing gallstones. There's even been some links to some thyroid cancer cases. So there's no medication out there that doesn't have risks associated with it, and this definitely does. And as we said, it's not talked about the kind of risks.
But there are pros of taking it as well, Becky.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, people will lose weight. By losing weight, there's a good chance they may be able to come off some of their other medications. But as we've already said, there are other ways of losing weight without side effects associated with them.
Yeah, and Amanda, do you think people are afraid of the side effects? Does that put people off, do you think?
It doesn't appear to be. As Helen said, the private prescribing of these drugs is going through the roof. I get twice daily emails from some of the companies promoting these drugs. There doesn't seem to be any shortage in demand for them, despite side effects.
So, Helen, do you think these jags are the silver bullet in tackling what really is a big problem with obesity in the UK and Scotland?
Yeah, I don't think there's many silver bullets in medicine, really. I think even the trial results suggest that, taking these, they reduce what you eat. You need to combine it with a healthier eating pattern and exercise as well. And of course, we know that those things, if you can stick to them, if you have the willpower, can work on their own. So not a silver bullet, but I have spoken to an expert at Glasgow University who definitely thought it was a game changer, that he thought in the next 5 years, people would be losing up to 30% of their body weight wait on this kind of generation of treatments, and that could then prevent quite a lot of ill health, which the NHS has to deal with at the moment.
I mean, that's remarkable, isn't it?
Absolutely. But, you know, I keep thinking that this feels like a society problem with the way that we've allowed people to have access to food quality, and, you know, we've not helped with education, and what we're looking for is a sticky plaster approach to a big problem that should be really coming from government level of improving people's lifestyle and focusing on the lifestyle change. So it's another way of sticking a plaster over a problem without really getting to the crux of the problem. But
the reality is that the amount of people being overweight in the country is costing the NHS a huge amount of money. Does that not need to be addressed?
It does, but what about, you know, looking at preventing diseases, preventing obesity, looking at how we're advertising food, how our children, our teenagers are having easy access, constant, you know, billboards, advertisement about ultra-processed foods. If we focus on that, we could maybe prevent the problem in a much more longer-term way.
Amanda, do you see this as a game changer?
It probably is, because it's another tool in the arsenal of people who want to lose weight and want it to stay off. I think reiterating the point, a healthier lifestyle, better eating habits, and much more education around food, around the calorific intake of products. There's no lack of benefit from simply educating people about the food they're eating, and we've lost that connection with our food. You know, we eat when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're with people, when we're celebrating things, when we're miserable. That's what people do. And food's just so much part of our lives. We've almost lost sight of when we need food for fuel, when it's good for our bodies and our health and our well-being, and when it's just an indulgence. And the indulgence bit seems to have crept into our lives on a daily basis.
But Amanda, we have known for many decades now that what we need to do to lose weight. So it's not as if we don't know. So when people say the message isn't getting across, what more can we do?
I actually think it's not more. It's more focused. People they're bombarded with information, whether that's HFSS labels, whether that's traffic lights, whether it's something's good for you one week, it's bad for you the next. There are some very simple criteria. Sugar's not good for you. It gives you an artificial high. But at the same time, eating the same quantity of calories and vegetables simply doesn't give you the buzz and the immediate feeling of elation that eating those quantity of calories and sugar does.
Yeah, I mean, Helen, do you think there needs to be more radical ideas about how to tackle the problem?
I think one thing that repeatedly happens with health management in Scotland and perhaps the UK more widely is that we talk about trying to prevent ill health, but we don't really invest in that. Mm-hmm. So whether that means offering more Weight Watchers on the NHS or setting up proper programmes to access these drugs, or having a kind of wider community programme that meant easier access to healthy food, for example, those things always come second to kind of funding the acute side of medicine, the kind of hospitals that respond to emergencies. And so we kind of make the same pattern happen over and over again, where people, you know, continue their habits and get ill and get treated in an emergency situation. And, it doesn't seem to change, although we constantly talk about doing it differently.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point, isn't it? We just keep on making the same mistakes.
Absolutely, yeah. And we know prevention's better than cure, and it's cheaper and it's more cost effective, and people can feel better. This isn't just about a size of a person, this is about the health of the person and about how much energy they have and if they're nourishing themselves properly. And it's teaching people how to nourish themselves properly so that they do have energy, so they're not tired all the time. And we have so many people stuck in this circle of poor eating choices, feeling exhausted, more poor eating choices. And I think it's re-educating that. And we can change our taste buds by changing how we eat, but it's really hard to start. So it's having approaches with coaching people, of having, community projects that really get people together and support each other.
Yeah, and I suppose the downside of these injections is that many people will just think, well, we don't need to worry about exercising and eating because we can take a pill, Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can give that message out. the patient that I spoke to who was accessing this treatment privately was being well supported, both to deal with the side effects and to make kind of food and lifestyle changes. Of course, it would be good to have quality control, wouldn't it, to make sure that that's how these medicines are given as part of a new regime. Because the idea is not to stay on them for life. The idea is that you maintain the benefits later, and they shouldn't be given without that kind of background support.
Okay, we will have to leave it there, but Helen, Amanda and Becky, thank you all very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.